Howdy folks, TechTexN here, bringing you Kerbal Space Program Part 7, and this time we are going to the moon. Now, as I left off last time, we were going over orbital maneuvers, and today we are going to orbit the moon. That is right. Now, we're not going to do it with the craft we had before. No, instead I went ahead and got ahead of the game and went ahead to build the craft that will take us there. Now, notice I have completely, well, maybe not completely, but at least mostly redesigned. The part that we do the maneuvering with has pretty much stayed the same. We still have our sights, we still have our solar panels, parachutes, and all that good stuff. However, where I made the changes is how we're launching and getting into orbit. First of all, we only had 3 solid fuel boosters, and that's these 3 large ones here, and I put them a little bit more towards the center of this guy to start us off with and getting us off the launch pad. However, I changed the way we structured the bottom half. As you remember previously, I had the fuel tank on top of what's that piece called? The stack tri-coupler. And what I did was, instead of putting the fuel above it, I put the fuel below it. So that way we had 3 fuel tanks, 1 rocket each, but all rockets are running at the same time, giving us the thrust we need to get up there. And if it's not enough, we could always take these rockets off, or these engines, excuse me, and add more fuel, and then just go with that. But I think this will do the trick. So I'm going to call this Lunar Orbiter 2, save, and who's going to be the one to take us there? Alright, Jeb, Bill, Bob, they already did their stuff, a lot of suborbital flights. CV, yeah, he took us into orbit, so he's a good guy. However, we need to give someone else a new chance. Someone with lots of courage. Limb Free, you are up. It is time. And I already checked my stages, so the way we had this going is these are going to kick off as soon as the solid fuel boosters go. Fuel boosters go out, then the bottom 3 engines go, and then we're going to, and of course those will take up those 3 tanks. Now I have a decoupler here, so as soon as they run out, that drops that entire piece, and then we're on our last engine the entire way. So that should do the trick, as long as I'm doing my orbiting right. I'm not always the greatest at timing and such. You know, there's a lot more small tweaks that you could do to really perfect your orbits and such. I'm kind of giving you guys more of just a quick rundown for sloppy orbits. To perfect it, though, it takes a little work and a little practice. For example, after launch, as you work your way up the atmosphere, don't recover, as you work your way up the atmosphere, you can actually throttle down your liquid fuel engine to save fuel, and you'll still be accelerating. So playing with the throttle a bit will help with fuel efficiency when getting off of Kerbal. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. Lights on! And we're on our way! Moving right along. Now, the solid fuel boosters are not going to get us to 10,000 meters, but that's okay. It gets us started. It gets our initial acceleration going, which should be good enough, and then these will take us most of the way, and then our final engine will take us, will actually put us into orbit, and it's a very fuel-efficient engine, and since we won't be hit by as much atmosphere at the time, it will be good enough. And we should have enough fuel to get to orbit of the moon and back. Alright, knock those off. Things are going perfect so far. Limfrey looks concerned. Why? He's supposed to have a lot of courage. Come on. Courage, man. Courage! Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start turning. And actually, I could probably start throttling back a little bit. But not too much. Really what I'm keeping an eye on is how much I'm accelerating. You kind of want those numbers rolling up. But if I throttle down too much, you'll notice that it doesn't go up quite as fast. But I kind of need it going up. But the further you get out the atmosphere, the easier it is to cut through. So you can hear me throttling down, conserving my fuel, but at the same time still accelerating. Now, of course, the reason why we make the turn at 10,000 meters is because for proper orbit, you have to have what's called lateral velocity, or you could just say sideways speed, in layman's terms, I guess. Because initially we got a lot of vertical speed, but you also have to have that lateral speed. And for those who, take geometry and such, it's more efficient to go at the angle than it is to go up and over. And I'm going to wait till we get to 100,000 meters. Alright, so I just ran out, go to staging, cut those off, go full speed with this guy since he doesn't really have that much. Alright, we're almost at 100,000. And there we are. Okay. Time to create the maneuver. Now, usually I wait till I'm out of atmosphere, but we'll be kind of in a hurry. Actually, I will wait a few seconds. I'll go ahead and maneuver down so I'm ready for it. I'm just using my nav ball. Most likely you're going to start somewhere around the horizon here. And you'll also notice that for the most part, I'm only going to be doing most of my maneuvers just along one axis here. At least that's what we're going to try to do. Alright, add maneuver. Alright, and it takes a lot of fuel to get into this initial orbit. 104.96. Oh, come on. There, let's double click on Kerbal and see if we can't line up that. See, this is a little off, that's why. Oh, but I gotta hurry, I gotta start burning. Oh dear. Come on. Come on. 100, that's good enough. Alright, aim for the node. Notice the burn's going to take a while. And actually now is the perfect time to start. Whew, almost missed it. Actually, I kind of had. The estimated burn's 2.5 minutes. That's a long time. I hope I make it. Now notice because I'm burning so early, the apoapsis is moving over. That's because I'm not right on the apoapsis. And that's why it's not always a good idea to do these huge long burns. But in this case, we kind of have no choice. It's do or die at this point. Actually, you know what? Yeah, okay. Come on. So, as you know, with the little engine, even though it's fuel efficient, it doesn't have much thrust, so it takes a long time to do these maneuvers. And I am going to go ahead and do full thrust because we want to get this maneuver done as soon as possible. At least that would be the fuel efficient way. In some cases, it's good to just do a low amount of thrust for precision maneuvering. And also take note that I have that extra reaction wheel here, so it's so much more easy to turn. Alright, we're getting there. Now it looks like we're burning off quite a bit of fuel, but of course that's because these are gigantic burns. The burn to get to the moon, I think, is going to be probably somewhere along the lines of 600, 800 delta V, depending how we make our approach. And I'm just kind of keeping my nose on the maneuver node because it changes because of the long, drawn-out burn process here. And I actually started the burn kind of late, so I hope I make it. Now, according to this, I'm done. But what I'm gonna I keep an eye on the periapsis. Okay? I'm above atmosphere no matter what. Okay. Yeah, I'm way off on that, but that has to do with making a better rocket, I think, along with me actually doing a better job at being more efficient and so forth. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and save the game. I'm going to do an F5 here. Alright, so to get to the moon, here's where a lot of people get a little confused. Okay, how do you get to the moon? Because, if I create a maneuver node and go right at it, it just seems like I never get there. Well, or at least it looks like you're going to get there, but by the time you get there, the moon is no longer there. Well, okay, there's several things. One, of course, I've already shown you, and that is to make sure you get your angles right. Now, I am a little off on my angles, but the moon is not too bad. Yeah, I guess I could use a little bit of adjustment on the angle. So let's go ahead and cancel that. Let's go to the ascending node and descend that a little bit. It's not going to take much. That thing whips around real fast. Whoop. Okay, there we go. Perfect. 0 and 0. Sometimes you also get NAN, so that's okay too. In fact, I think that's even more perfect when it's unable to even calculate. Alright, so now whenever you're doing the ascending node or descending node, you'll notice it's on the other axis of your nav ball. Alright. Now, while I'm doing that, I also want to make sure my solar panels are facing towards the sun. So that way I'm constantly getting energy, because my SAS is still on, and it'll adjust itself as necessary, which costs electricity. Not much, but I want to make sure I have enough to get to the moon here. Anyways, after we get our ascending node and descending node set, notice I go to this sort of I don't want to say bird's eye because there's really no up and down in space, but from the poles. I'm looking from the northern pole and down at both Kerbal and the moon. So I'm trying to look at it like a clock almost. I'm going to put the moon here at about 9 o'clock. Normally what I would do, or at least the rule of thumb for the moon, and it's different for most moons and planets, but for the moon, you're looking to maneuver at about a quarter of the angle, or a 90-degree angle away from where the moon's position is. So where it is right here, I'll probably do my maneuver node here, so I shoot down this way. So let me move this out of the way. So that way, by the time I get here, the moon will be arriving, and I will be captured by the moon's gravity. Now we'll tinker with the nodes here in a moment after I adjust my ascending node, or descending node. I am 9 minutes away. I'm going to go ahead and speed that sucker up. Hopefully I won't miss it. That has happened plenty of times. And notice it's not going to take much burn. It's only 28 meters per second. Estimated burn is like 2 seconds, so I could pretty much do it at the node. Alright, 1 minute away. Let's speed that up a little bit. 10 seconds. And I probably overdid it, but that's okay. It still says 0.0. Probably off by a little bit, but it won't make much of a difference. I still could have gotten the moon's gravity. The problem is, if your angle is off by a few tenths of a degree, then you'll notice that you'll end up in a totally different orbit once you get to the moon. So you might actually be on, I don't know, like a 10-degree angle, which will be completely odd. So you don't want to be too far off on your angle. You want to try to get as close as you can, so that way your way back will be a lot more simplified. Okay, so let's talk about getting a maneuver node ready. Now, I'm kind of at the location where I'm supposed to burn, so it's probably too late. Now, remember I said that was a rule of thumb? Okay, notice as I brought my adjusted orbit out, notice that a couple extra nodes show up. And now these are the target approaching, or target closest approach nodes. So this shows where the target is. This shows where you're going to be at that particular time. So by the time I get here, the moon is right here. So it might be a bit off. I could still get caught in its gravity, as you see there. And also bear in mind, I can adjust the node itself. Now I probably won't be able to adjust it much because, well look, I already passed it, so it makes no difference. So I'm going to have to close that out. I'm going to have to circle around again. So I'm going to create the maneuver node behind me. And let's do this again. Alright, let's see here. So the whole point is to get an encounter. Now, what type of encounter can make a difference? For now, let's just worry about getting into the moon's orbit. We won't worry too much about special maneuvers with the moon, because take note that if I come in pretty shallow, notice I'm going to come around this way, and I'm going to start spinning around the moon this way in a different direction relative to the spin of the moon. However, if I go a bit faster, a lot of delta V, actually, that's going to be way off. Okay. So in this case, probably not so much the amount of delta V, but rather if I go sooner or later. Come on. Let me adjust it. Okay, notice as I turn that around. Okay. So notice here, I'll end up coming up behind the moon, and then I'll need to slow down, but I'll have a different, I'll be in a different rotation around relative to the moon's spin. I'll be going the same direction as the moon is spinning. So, in some cases, the maneuver matters. In most cases, what we're doing, it does not. In this case, I just want to use a low amount of delta V. So let me bring this back a bit. What would be the best approach? So if I end up this way, now take note, I'm still a good distance away from the moon, so can I get captured in its orbit? Whoop, there we go. Just want to get in a basic orbit. Alright. So I could do 820 delta V plus 155 delta V, and that'll put me in orbit of the moon. So, yeah, we're talking about 975 delta V here. Do we have enough with that liquid fuel? Let's find out. Now, why is my angle way off? I may have done something there. Hang on. Let me try to fix this. Sometimes these nodes could be a little wonky and you might have to redo them. Now, again, it's usually better to do these at Kerbal nodes, and the reason why, remember I told you when it comes to orbits that as you approach an apoapsis you're going slower, but as you approach a periapsis you're going faster. So if I were to do this from the periapsis, I would actually be conserving fuel because I'm already going at a high velocity, and once I go even faster, I'll break I'll break out of the Kerbal gravity, or at least get close enough to get into the moon's pull of gravity. Problem is, I would have to sit here and spin and wait for the moon to come around in a right position. So it all depends what you're in the mood to do. If you're willing to wait on the moon. Now in this case, just for the sakes of the video, I'm just going to do it here. I'm not going to be as fuel efficient, but just know that those are some methods in which you could be fuel efficient. So get to know all these different nodes, because that's where a lot of the maneuvers, or majority of your maneuvers, are going to take place. Now you'll notice there are these two blue guys right here on the node that I never talked about. And you probably will figure it out after doing this several times that really it's just angling to the right or to the left, or, you know, going by ship terms, port or starboard. So really it's just changing angle. A lot of times that just burns fuel, but it does come in handy when you're doing interplanetary travel because it helps you fine-tune some of your maneuvers, because when you're aiming for another planet, it requires a little bit more precision in your flight. And what happens is you really just get into a general path towards a planet, or at least where it's going to be. And I'll show this all in another video, so don't worry too much. But what you'll end up doing is kind of going by faith and going halfway there, and then you make your adjustments mid-flight, because from a distance you can actually do some pretty darn good precision maneuvers. Just not major maneuvers. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can't get a decent enough moon encounter. I'm probably doing this way too early, so let me drag this. We'll try here. No, not along the green. Okay, so sometimes, and I've had this problem, whenever you're trying to create a maneuver node right here, keep an eye on the color of that little transparent ball. If it's not that purple color, then you may be putting the maneuver in the wrong place. I have done this before and just complicated things. Alright. I don't care too much about whether it's high orbit or low orbit, because we're just going to do some high orbit science, and if I have enough fuel, I'll adjust for low orbit science to get a little extra points there. Alright, so 155, and okay, so we got out with a little less there. That's not bad. Now, let's see what my orbit's gonna, or where my maneuver node is. Holy cow, what? Why is my maneuver node here? Oh, I wonder if it's doing... Well, no, I don't know. I don't know why it's pointing that way. That's not north. I think my nav ball got confused. The node's not supposed to quite be there. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Alright, so I'm going to fast forward a bit. Dun, 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 come on. Okay, don't want to go too much. Again, it's easy to miss these nodes. Alright, we are getting there. Come on! Alright, now notice it says there's a 2-minute burn. So I'm going to go ahead and start slowing down, because I probably need to start burning at 1 minute. If you wait too long, sometimes that node gets a little off, so... Oh, I need to face towards the sun. Well, I am a little bit. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's see if I can't charge a little bit. Come on, charge them solar panels. I need to charge my batteries. Come on. You do have to look at sun exposure when it comes to solar panels, and sometimes it's a good idea to put them on both sides, but I wasn't going to be too worried about it. Eventually we'll unlock some better solar panels that actually turn towards the sun whenever possible. We'll introduce those in a later video. I mean, we should have plenty for maneuver right there, so not going to worry about it. If I have to, I'll turn my lights off. Limfree can turn off the heater. There is a mod, however, where if you run out of electricity, then your astronaut can die due to lack of heat and any other necessities that require electricity. The coldness of space will certainly do it. Okay, 2 minutes and 11 seconds is the estimated burn. Let's see if I can't... Okay, yeah. So the actual burn's 1 minute and 20 seconds. So we'll go... we'll start burning at the 40-second mark. Alright, well, I'm going to keep this open so I can keep an eye on my maneuvers. I'm going to remove this maneuver node because that's probably going to end up changing anyway. Okay, what happened here? Okay, notice it's not showing my encounter anymore, so I think what I'm going to do is just guesstimate this. I'm just going to burn and try to get the encounter, stop burning, and then make my second maneuver node. Make adjustments on the way. 8 seconds. And it takes time to throttle up, so here we go. And you'll notice that apoapsis going. See what I mean? It would have been better to do this from the periapsis because your apoapsis is already in the opposite direction of the periapsis, so... Well, what can you do? Alright. Moving right along. The little engine that could. These small engines may be fuel efficient, but my goodness, it takes a little time to get places. And if you look at how aligned these orbits are, they're pretty darn close, so we don't have to worry too much about angle. It's pretty much just speed, altitude. Speed is pretty much the key in this game. It's all about speed. Okay, so notice I have Kerbal encounter. Or I'm sorry, not Kerbal, Moon encounter. Alright, see how that little transparent ball is changing color? I'm trying to put this in the right spot. Oh, there we go. Add maneuver. Slow down just enough for that. 200 delta V, 190, 185, 170. Okay, we'll try for 170. Alright, 170 delta V. That should be good enough. I hope we have enough for a return. If we don't, we could always do a rescue mission. No biggie. I have better design rockets in my other game. I could always just look up. Okay. I mean, I don't have to turn this early. As you can see, it's going to take 5 hours to get there. You can wait real time if you want, but I'm not gonna. Okay. So at this point, you can kick back and relax for a while. Enjoy the view. Now, also keep in mind, when you're on the other side of Kerbal and Kerbal eclipses the sun, you are not going to get electricity. So if at this point you're low on electricity, make sure you charge before you go around behind Kerbal. Or, you know, make sure you just have enough batteries. If you put, you know, like, you know, 1,000 charge battery in there, then yeah, you got more than enough time. You have to spend a lot of time behind Kerbal to run out of that. Alright, we're going to speed this up. And look at that. And notice my charge going down. I'm behind that eclipse. But I'll come up on the other side soon, I hope. Yep, there it goes. It just recharged. Okay, I just sped it up a little more. Again, be careful. It's easy to get carried away on that. Alright, so I'm going to slow down right here and tell you what's going to happen. Now, here's what we're looking at. That blue is the path I'm on, and the orange path is the path I'm going to be on as soon as I hit the moon encounter. Or in short, when the moon starts pulling me with its gravity, that orange path is the path. Now here's moon escape. The moon's going to be swinging around and away, and I'm going slow. I'm slowing down, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you see I'm slowing down there, and it's going to pass right by me, so it won't be... This path is not enough to get into moon orbit, even though I'm within its gravity. And what's going to happen is this purple path is going to be when Kerbin's gravity takes over my ship again and puts me back in orbit with Kerbin. So even if I fail here at this point, I'm going to go back to Kerbin at 911 altitude here. So I'm not going to be escaping this particular area anytime soon. I'm going to be pretty much within Kerbin's grasp, if not the moon. But as we approach the moon, when I hit the periapsis, I made an adjustment to slow down, do a retro burn to slow down just enough so the moon's gravity can just pull me and start swinging me around the moon. So, alright. I hope that made sense. Moon pulling gravity to pull yourself around the moon. I swear, I come up with better explanations before I play, but while I'm playing, I'm trying to focus and not screw up. Okay, so notice after I hit the encounter, all the colors change because we're no longer on that previous blue path. We are not now definitely within Moon's lunar gravity. So, at this point, this is my path. But notice this path is moving along with the moon because I've been encountered by the moon. Everything is now relative to the moon. Even this orbit right here, relative to the moon, everything. So, in fact, I need to double click and focus on the moon here. Alright, it's 1 hour and 13 minutes to the node. It's 170 delta V, so it's not going to take long. 13 seconds? Actually, it's probably going to be closer to 20 seconds, but either way, I'll probably start burning about somewhere 7 to 10 seconds. I'm not too worried. This won't require that much precision. Now, when you start approaching planets, you'll be approaching a lot faster, and this particular burn is not always that easy to pull, because sometimes it requires a lot of delta V to slow down when it comes to interplanetary travel. For the moon, it's a lot more easy to do this, and Minmus. Of course, Minmus gravity is not as strong, so you might have to slow down a little more, but when it comes to other planets, it is difficult, and you really have to plan ahead, so make sure you save frequently, and actually be strategic in when you save. So right now, I'm going to save, because I'm 10 minutes away from burn, so let's say I screw this up. Maybe I want to slow down a little sooner rather than later, which may actually put me in orbit, though it may be an ugly orbit. We don't care. As long as we're in some sort of orbit, we're happy. Alright, you see that path following along? 3, 2, 1, and slow down. Okay. And speed up a little. Not much. There we go. Alright. 11, 10, 9. I'll start throttling up. Yeah, I thought so. It's going to be a little faster. That's okay. Alright, and you see that path stretching out. Eventually it'll sling around. Yeah, see that blue path? And boom. We are now in Kerbin orbit. Or, excuse me, moon orbit. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and close that node so it's not in the way. We are now in orbit of the moon! Piece of cake! And guess what? We can do our science! And we still have 73 fuel left. That should be enough to get back. Alright, observe materials bay. 75 points. Mystery goo. 30 points. Crew report. 15 points. Alright, Lemfrey, you still look panicked. I don't know why. You're about to get out and... Whoa, 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 whoa. Woo, hello. By the way, R key to pull out the jetpack. In case he pops out like that. I think I put the lamp a little too close and it kind of pushed him out. Don't get too far away because you do have limited EVA propellant here, which is in the top right hand corner. It's only 5, but it, obviously it doesn't take much to move him around. Alright. Shift and control to go up and down. is with the look on his face? What is wrong? He looks panicked. He should be relaxed, like, whoa. Maybe he's concerned about the amount of fuel still. Or maybe just getting shoved out the door like that. He doesn't know what happened. Alright, EVA report. 24 points, yay! Here, relax a little bit. There you go. Just breathe. Well, don't breathe too much because you have limited oxygen, but just chill. Alright, let's get back in. I think it's enough fooling around there. Now, I have another, hop in. I have another mystery goo container, and I'm wondering if I can get into a close orbit of the moon. So I'm going to F5 and save this sucker. Now, if I want to get closer to the moon to save on my fuel, I probably want to bring down the periapsis, so I'm going to do my maneuver at the apoapsis. Because the periapsis is already a lower orbit, so that's obviously saving fuel. Let's bring it down to... Oh, we don't want to crash into the moon. 57, sure. Alright, so that's 81. That's only a 6-second burn. We should be good for that. Again, I'm worried about getting back to Kerbal. Let's see. Where's my maneuver node? There it is. I'm going to get a head start on this. Aim for the node. Now, if you don't get this all on the first try, don't worry. It took me quite a few tries to get this right. I was all over the place. In fact, my orbit was in a completely different angle. I could not get those ascending or descending nodes right, and I would always mess things up. I would come in at a weird angle and spin around, you know, even when I did fix the ascending and descending node, because the approach that I took, I would always come in at a weird angle. So I did not get this right. So, you know, a lot of people who do this and show these videos like I am right now, we make it look easy, but that's because we had a lot of practice, okay? It took a lot of messing up to get this right, okay? So, but you can at least watch and see how we're moving those maneuver nodes around, because that makes a big difference. Not just adjusting how much thrust, but actually clicking and actually perfecting how close to the nodes you're putting something. And also, of course, as I did the polar view to kind of get this the whole clock looking thing to get the proper angle and put the maneuver nodes where you want to. So now you have an idea for that. Alright, enough of me yakking. This video is getting long enough. Let's get to that maneuver node. Now, because I'm orbiting so slow, I mean, this is a low gravity moon. Not as low as Minmus, but you know, it doesn't require as much speed to get into orbit, so that's why it takes so long to get around. In fact, let's speed it up. Let the days go by. Well, not so much. It's just hours, but still. When it comes to interplanetary travel, you could be dealing in years. For the most part, it'll be days, but in some cases, you'll be dealing in years. I already have. In fact, the first landing I made on the moon was Bill. And because I didn't have enough fuel to leave again, he was stuck there for about 2 years before I was clever enough to finally build a rescue craft to pick him up. 2 years. Can you imagine being stuck in that little pod for 2 years? Oh, I passed the maneuver node. No! That's okay. I'm going so slow, I'm still there. Oh, hello. Where am I at? Let's bring it down a little more. So now I'm just adjusting. I want to bring it down to 57. Oh, okay, 55. That's fine. And in fact, when it comes to the moon, because the moon has no gravity, you could bring that sucker down to 20. In fact, I still might. Okay, 23. That's good enough. If you get it too low, you'll start risking running into, you know, one of those mountains or... Plus, I don't want to waste too much fuel. I want to make sure I have enough fuel to get back. Alright. Make sure my solar panels are facing that way. Notice I am going 78 meters per second. I am going extremely slow. However, because of this steep orbit, that's a very elliptical orbit, as I approach that periapsis, I'm going to be going really fast. I'm only at the apoapsis. I'll show you just how fast I'll be going at the periapsis. It'll probably be 300 at least. Well, maybe. Now, if you do need help with proper angles and calculating delta V and things of that nature, there is a mod called MechJeb. I try not to use it because I really want to learn this stuff on a more visual basis. But at some point I'll give it a try, and just so I could do some more fancy stuff. But I kind of prefer winging it, getting the practice. Again, the only mod I really use is the Better Atmospheres, which is the name of the mod I used for giving Kerbal that beautiful look with the clouds and the very blue sea. And it also is applied to some of the other planets. Alright, notice that speed building up. Now, I'm going to have to watch my time compression because as I approach that periapsis, I'll go so fast I'll whip right by it. Look at that. It's like exponentially increasing. Okay, I'm going to slow down a little. Yeah, see, I've already gone past 300 meters per second. I'm going to go past 400, probably 500. Wow, look at that. I went from 72 to over... Oh, I'm going to pass 600. Alright. Because we want a good look of the moon... Oh wait, let's see, 23. I want to remember how low I'm going to go. I'm at 67 right now. And we're going to go down to 23. Look at that. So you can take a good look at some of these craters. Now let's do the other mystery goo, and we're going to get some extra points. See, now it's going to say near the moon rather than high over the moon. So those are a separate set of points that you can get. So make sure you get all your points in high orbit and low orbit over each biome. And if I'm not mistaken, the moon has multiple biomes as well. I don't know what they are, though. I never went through the trouble to find out. I was just always more concerned about getting points, but it is a good, efficient way to get points. Now, you can also do another EVA at this point, assuming I don't get shot out and thrown. Oh, goodness. It scares me when he does that. All right. Does he still look concerned? Nah, he's actually pretty happy now. Which is weird. He's going faster than anything right now. Alright, well. EVA report. Keep. Alright. Again, this video is getting really long. Grab! Board! Alright. Look at that. You can almost land on it, and there we go. 724.6 meters per second. It's probably the max. Yep. So now my altitude's going back up, and I'm going back to the apoapsis. So let's start plotting my way back to Kerbal. And actually, this is perfect because this is going to be right along the periapsis here. May have to do it a little earlier. Oh, that's going to throw me way out. I don't want to do that. No. Okay, there we go. Wow, it's not going to take much to get out of this orbit. Only 11 meters per second. And then it just puts me in this gigantic orbit around Kerbal. I still even have a periapsis of 3 million, which is kind of half distant to the moon. Not even that. We could definitely bring that down so we can land. All right. Oh, and I'm not even to the node yet, so I can do this right now. Excellent. 12, 11, I could do this at the last second. All right, that's good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, I am now leaving Moon's gravity. Assuming it doesn't collide with me first. Nah, it should be okay. I just sped up a little bit. That's all I did. So, at this point, I'm going to speed it up. I am now out of the way of the moon. I'm going to escape moon here in 3 hours, which time is sped up. Speed it up a little more. I'm going to go relative to Kerbin now. And I just lightly land into Kerbin orbit, like so. Alright. So from here, I'm going to drop my periapsis down to collision with Kerbin. Now, a good way to do this, there's several ways to do this. Now, since we don't have to worry about our angle so much, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a low orbit of maybe, 29. No, not that much. Here. Come on. Okay. 85? No, I want to be within the atmosphere. Now, even if I don't end up in the atmosphere the first time, I could always keep going around and descending every pass through the atmosphere, and it'll only take a couple times for that to happen. So, one way or another, we are landing this sucker. After I go to this maneuver node, I need 220 delta V, and I have 64 liquid fuel. Boy, I hope that's enough. I wonder if I can adjust this. That's about as close as it gets, I think. Alright, so maneuver node in 2 days. Okay, that's what happens with these high orbits. You're going so slow. Alright. 2 days. Speed up. Alright, now we're 2 hours away. Okay, here we go. 1 hour 40. 1 hour. Oh, okay. Slow down. Let's do this. I am horrible when it comes to the time compression thing. I should be using quick keys to do this. It's just a matter of habit. Because I think the quick keys failed me one day. Alright, I should probably point towards the maneuver node. Wait a minute. Hold on. Actually, it's going to be this way. There it is. That looks right. Alright, let's make sure these solar panels remain charged. Not much fuel left. But it should be enough. I mean, we got here quite a bit with only like, what was it, 170 or 180 fuel? We were able to get in moon orbit and get back into Kerbin orbit. And at this point, you should consider yourself safe because you have all the time in the world to build a rescue craft even if you don't land back on Kerbin. So it always makes an excuse for a second mission. Alright, let's speed this up. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Time's a wasting. $30 seconds. 8. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. Alright, there you go. Will he make it? I have confidence. Alright. One way or another, we are landing on Kerbin. It no longer matters how much fuel we have. We are landing on Kerbin. It no longer matters. Nothing matters. We are landing on Kerbin. Unless I slam into a mountain. Let's hope that doesn't happen. You know what? Now that I mentioned that, let me quick save it. I don't want to run into a mountain. This is the best chance to do any maneuvering as possible. I still have 45 fuel, so let's just save it here. We can always fix it later if something happens. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and try to speed this up, get to the landing, get it over with, show you how many points we earn on this mission, just to show you how valuable these moon missions are. Whoa, hello. Alright, so here we are. Approaching Kerbal. Actually, yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on my orbit and see just how much I slow down. Now, when you approach orbit, or when you approach the atmosphere, it automatically cuts your warp speed. Or I call it time compression. I don't like the name warp speed. We're not going warp speed. We're not going light speed. We're just speeding up time is all. Now, if I want to, at this point, I can even assist my slowing down by just retrograde burn. I don't even need a maneuver node. Just knowing that a retrograde burn at this point will bring this down. I mean, you can see how fast my apoapsis is coming down, just grinding through the atmosphere at these speeds of 3,000 meters per second. Look at that. In fact, I'm probably, yep, I am heating up. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. We don't need that. Oh, hello, hello. Now, if I had deadly reentry, this probably wouldn't work out well. See, I haven't even hit the periapsis yet, and I'm already bringing down my apoapsis well underneath 1 million. So I just lost a few million meters grinding through this atmosphere. That's how powerful this is. This is not exactly as small as a bullet, but even if it were, it would still probably fry in the atmosphere going at these speeds. And we got enough electric charge for lights, landing lights. Yeah, so I'm not even going to pass around. I'm definitely landing on land. Beautiful. People down below me can make a wish if they're looking up. And he is happy to return. He's like, all right, we did it. Success. Now, just for kicks, I'm still going to take a soil sample. Just for a few more added points. All right. Let's speed this up just a little bit. Again, this video is going extremely long time. I'll probably slow it down at about a few thousand meters, maybe when I get below the clouds. Alright, time warp and parachutes! Slow me down. And 3 parachutes should be enough. If one breaks off, then the others should be able to... Oh, you know what? I think I'm on a bit of a slope. Whoa, hello. I am upside down. Come on. Okay, come on. Come on. Actually, come on. There we go. Sort of do this at an angle. There we go. Had to stand it up. Going 4.8 meters per second. Should be getting close to the ground anytime soon. Another reason to have these lights on. You'll see the shine on the ground. Alright. I'll speed up just a little. Okay, slow it down. Looks like I'm getting pretty close. Alright, so it doesn't look like I'm on that steep of a hill. Just a very slight incline. Safe enough landing. this is going to be a mission success. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. And there you have it. We landed. F5, quick saving. All right, EVA, we need to take a soil sample, sir. Well done. Surface sample. Yep. You know what? I think I could do even another EVA report. All right. Well, we're not going to hop back in, but that's okay. We could still recover the vessel with all the data in it. So we're going to recover our astronaut first to get some of the data we got there on site. So it's not much data. 11. But lunar orbiter, recover. Oh yes, recover. 214 science! Yes! For the win! We're going to unlock a bunch of stuff. Now, again, your priority should always be science instruments because, as you can see, it's important. It gets you points. Eventually, we'll need a ladder because I'm tired of having to hop down and not get back in. You have a barometer for atmospheric pressure, and that's only good for doing within Kerbal, but we could still do that. We know how to do suborbital flights. Thermometer, you can get some more science done with that. Landing gear, if you want to do some in-atmospheric flight. Landing struts for landing on the moon. So we're going to be focused a lot on stuff down here. But this, the fuel duct, is something that we really, really need. Along with the Rockomax engine there. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we're kind of desperate here for. A lot of stuff. But again, we have the points. But notice as further up higher you go on the tech chart, the more science it's going to cost us. So if we really want, okay, those are extra solar panels and batteries. We'll get to that later. But if I want that barometer, it's going to cost 160 science, and that's a lot. But let's worry about this row right here first. We'll probably get our processing lab. We'll go over that. Oh, our mobility enhancer. That's what we need. I'm going to go ahead and unlock this. We need some of that. Landing struts. Oh. Technically, we can land without landing struts, but I do want to land on the moon. Why not? Hey, if we need more points, we only need 40 more points to get this, so, or this. Alright, we'll work on that later. For now, I think that is enough for today. I think I gave you quite a bit of info when it comes to getting into moon orbit. So, with that said, y'all come back now, you hear? Bye!